Okay, so NBA free agency is basically over, so now is the perfect time to tier rank NBA teams. Okay, so the 76ers are the first team, and as we all know, they signed Paul George and Caleb Martin. They re-signed Kelly Oubre Jr. and Kyle Lowry, so now they have a big three of Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid, and of course we all want to put them in the S tier because they're probably going to be as good as the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Bucks. They're competing for those top 4 spots in the Eastern Conference. But I don't know about the availability of Paul George and Joel Embiid. I have to see them play first. So I think I'm probably going to put them in A tier. Definitely an S tier caliber team, but we have to see how it goes first. Alright, next we have the Washington Wizards. They drafted Alex Sarr and Bub Carrington, who I watched play yesterday in Summer League. He was actually pretty impressive as a dynamic scorer. They signed Jonas Valanciunas, which was pretty interesting and confusing at first, but I think that they signed him to make Alex Sarr better. I think that they had that in mind when they signed Jonas Valanciunas for that big old contract. But off the bench, they're probably going to have Bub Carrington, Corey Kispert, Bilal Coulibaly, and then starting Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, the same people as last year. They're a bad team, of course, so I'm going to have to put them in D tier probably. But I am really excited to see Alex Sarr and all the young guys like Bub Carrington and Bilal Coulibaly improve. I'm glad they traded Denny away so that they can actually focus on these other players. But you're Washington, so D tier. Okay, so next we have the Hawks. They traded DeJounte Murray. They drafted Zachary Rissache, the first overall picks. So they have Trae Young, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Zachary Rissache, Jalen Johnson, Clint Capella as their starting 5. Their bench, they have Dyson Daniels. I would probably like to see him start with Trae for the defense, but they also have DeAndre Hunter, Onyeka Okongwu, Larry Nance Jr. I'm gonna probably say C tier because you were in the play-in tournament last year and you traded away DeJounte Murray and didn't really get back like the same talent level. But I'm excited to see Zachary Rissache play. He struggled a little bit in his first summer league game, probably because of nervousness and stuff like that, but I'm excited to also see the jump that Jalen Johnson takes and Dyson Daniels next to Trae Young, because I think that he's really going to be good on the defensive end, but probably C tier. Okay, and then next we have the Cleveland Cavaliers, and when I say this is one of the most confusing teams to rank, they didn't really do anything in free agency, but their starting 5 is basically the same as last year. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. And their bench, they have, Karis LeVert, Isaac Okoro, even though he might be signed and traded, we don't know. Maybe they'll get Dorian Finney-Smith or Cam Johnson or something. They have Dean Wade, Jordan Young. I think that they're B tier. Yeah, B tier because they were in the playoffs last year, but they didn't really make any changes to the team. They're one of the most confusing teams to rank, I think, but because they didn't really make any changes, but they're definitely going to be a playoff team, so I'm going to put them in B tier. Okay, next we have Detroit basketball. They signed Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley. Shout out to Tobias Harris's agent because I've never seen a player get that rich not being an all-star. So good for Tobias Harris, but bad for the fans, I guess. Starting 5 is going to be Cade Cunningham. Shout out to him. He also got a rookie max extension. Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris again, and Jalen Duren. But at the end of the day, this is D tier because it's the Detroit Pistons and they were like the worst team in NBA history last year. So the Pacers, so they really didn't do anything in free agency. So they have the same starting 5: Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner. Off the bench, TJ McConnell, Ben Shepherd, Benedict Mathurin is going to be back, which I'm really excited for, Obi Toppin, Ijax. I'm going to put them in A tier with the 76ers because they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're building chemistry. I think the team's just going to be getting better and better. It may be a little high because they might fall off from last year because they really just made their jump last year, but I think they're at least lower A tier, maybe high B tier, but I'm a little high on them, I know. Alright, Milwaukee. So they have Dame, Chris Middleton, Taurean Prince, Giannis, Brook Lopez, probably going to be their starting 5. Same thing as last year. Their bench, Delon Wright, Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis. I think they're going to be A tier. They need to show me that they can win in the playoffs and stay healthy because they have a chance to be in that S tier with Dame and Giannis, but I don't know, they've just been so disappointing. Like, they just won a championship and then they added Dame. Like, you should be better. You should be in the S tier with the Celtics and other teams. But I don't know. Bucks, I'm disappointed. A tier for now. The Raptors. So your starting five is going to be Emmanuel Quickley, Grady, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl. I mean, that's a mediocre team. Like, that's the definition of a mediocre team. So I think you're really going to be C tier because you're probably going to miss the playoffs again. But I am excited to see Scotty get better and better and better. And then some other players like Grady and Ochai Agbaji. But, like, this is really the definition of a mediocre team. So C tier. Alright, Dallas. So I'm going to be real here. You stole Klay Thompson and you broke my heart. But you just made the finals. You're gonna be an amazing team. You signed Klay, you traded for Quentin Grimes, you lost Derrick Jones Jr. surprisingly, but your starting five is gonna be amazing. Luka, Kyrie, Klay, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. Off the bench, you have Dante Exum, you have Najee Marshall, which is a great pickup. Maxi Kleber, Derek Lively is just gonna be better. So definitely S tier. We all knew that. They're one of the few teams that are going to be S tier. They just added Klay Thompson after making the finals. I don't know about the defense, so you might slip to A tier later in the season if you don't live up to the expectations. But for now, S tier, amazing team. The Denver Nuggets. You guys lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and I didn't really like that. But you might get Russell Westbrook, and you signed Dario Saric, so mediocre free agency, I would say. But now your starting five is going to be Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. Still a solid starting five, but you're not at that defending champs level of last year. So for that reason, I'm going to put you as A tier because I don't know about the bench. KCP was a big loss, and last year you were S tier, but I definitely think that you got worse. So A tier. The Grizz. You drafted Zach Edey. That was your free agency? Anyways, the starting five, John Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey. And then off the bench, you have Derrick Rose, Gigi Jackson is just getting better, Vince Williams. This is another one of those confusing teams I don't know where to rank because they were incredibly injured last year. But maybe they're a playoff team, maybe they're not because the Western Conference is so deep. So B tier for now. It's hard to judge, so don't take this one too seriously. We'll see. The T-Wolves, your starting five, Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert. You lost Slow-Mo, but other than that, I don't really think that you did much in free agency. You drafted Rob Dillingham, which is exciting. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid off the bench as well. I think this is definitely an A-tier team. They surprised everyone last year by being a damn good team. But I can't quite put you in that S-tier range because those are reserved for some select teams. But Anthony Edwards might be MVP caliber next year, so A tier for sure. San Antonio Spurs. So your starting five is going to be Chris Paul, which I'm so excited for. I'm so glad that CP said, screw getting a ring. I'm going to go play where I want to have fun. Because at the end of the day, basketball is about having fun. So the fact that he's going to go play with Victor Wembanyama, throw those lobs, mentor Stephen Castle, I think is the rookie that they drafted. I'm so excited for Chris Paul, especially playing on Golden State last year. It didn't go so well, so now he's going to be playing with the Spurs and actually having fun. I'm so excited to see his kind of farewell tour type thing. But anyways, Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes now actually, Jeremy Sohan, I can never say his name, and Victor Wembanyama, of course. But they're going to be so fun to watch. They're not going to be a very good team, so D tier, because they're still trying to tank and rebuild, but I think Victor's gonna win DPOY pretty soon. Okay, Utah. I don't have much to say about you guys because honestly, I just want you to trade Lauri Markkanen and tank for Cooper Flag. But anyways, your starting five is gonna be Keontae George, Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Taylor Hendricks, Walker Kessler, or John Collins. I don't know. Off the bench, you have some players like Clarkson, Cody Williams you just drafted, and then Walker Kessler might come off the bench, but definitely a C tier team because you're bad, but you're not as bad as the really bottom feeder teams. But if you do trade Lauri Markkanen, then you can go to the D tier and you could take for Cooper Flag, which is I think what you should do. Danny Ainge, you should do that. LA Clippers. So you guys lost Paul George, but now you have James Harden, Terrence Mann, Derrick Jones Jr., sneakily good pickup, and Kawhi and Ivica Zubac. Off the bench, you have Westbrook for now, but I think he's probably going to get traded to Denver. Norman Powell, Amir Coffey, some other pieces like that. I think that you're probably a B tier team because you lost Paul George, and Kawhi is just like permanently injured now. Like, he is basically taking off the Olympics to get ready for this next season. But if Kawhi plays a full season, then maybe you guys can get to A tier, but I doubt it. The Phoenix Suns, currently one of the laughing stocks of the NBA. I am very disappointed in them. You have a starting five of Devin Booker, Beal, Grayson Allen, KD, and Nurkic. Off the bench you have like Monte Morris, which is a good pickup, Royce O'Neal, and Mason Plumlee. But like, you guys are just so disappointing. So B tier, you didn't really do anything in free agency other than pick up Monte Morris, which is, you know, role player, after losing in the first round last year. And you're paying like over $400 million in payroll just for this team to lose in the first round every single year. Not even lose, get swept in the first round. So disappointing. Next we have the Portland Trailblazers, who have Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, who might get traded, I don't know, Denny, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton. Off the bench you have Shaden Sharp, Donovan Clingan, who is exciting. I'm excited to see him, but other than that, they're rebuilding, so D tier. Sacramento Kings. So you just signed DeMar DeRozan, you have De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, and Sabonis in the rest of the starting five. You also drafted Devin Carter, you have Jalen McDaniels, Trey Lyles, Alex Len. I think I'm going to put you in the B tier. You're definitely going to be a playoff team, like I said in one of my other videos, go check it out, 4 to 6 spots. But you're going to be one of the most clutch teams, one of the most fun teams, but I can't put you in the same tier as like the 76ers, the Nuggets, the T-Wolves, you know? Okay, and then now we have the Nova Knicks, or the Villanova Knicks. The starting five is Jalen Brunson, who took a massive pay cut, so good for him in the team. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Mitch Rob. Off the bench, they have Dante DiVincenzo, who was really good for them last year, Josh Hart, and some other players. I think that they're definitely going to be A tier. I think they're going to all really be excited to play together. The chemistry is going to be great. So yeah, A tier for now, with possibility in S tier because we haven't seen them yet. And then next up we have the New Orleans Pelicans, who traded for DeJounte Murray. So now they have DeJounte Murray, CJ, Ingram, Zion, and center to be determined. Off the bench they have Alvarado and Trey Murphy III, Herb Jones. So a lot of solid players. I think they're going to be B tier because I think DeJounte is going to fit nicely next to CJ in the backcourt, but you just need to figure out that center and you'll probably be a playoff team or play-in team. The Charlotte Hornets. Okay, so I don't have much to say about them. The starting five includes LaMelo, Miller, Brandon Miller, Josh Green now, which is different, Miles Bridges, Mark Williams, some people off the bench. I mean, the Hornets are D tier. I mean, it's hard being a Hornets fan right now because, well, I'm not, but if you're a Hornets fan, it's hard being a Hornets fan because hopefully LaMelo can stay healthy, because when he's healthy, he's a damn good player, but we'll see, I guess. Okay, another one of those exciting young teams, the Houston Rockets. Starting five of Freddie, Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, Jabari Smith Jr., and LP. Off the bench, you're going to have Amen Thompson, Reed Shepherd, who that guy can shoot because I watched him in Summer League yesterday and just flat out can shoot the ball. Tari Eason, they even have Steven Adams if you forgot. He was injured last year. But I definitely think that I'm a little bit high on them B tier. I think they can actually have a real chance for a playoff spot this year. Exciting young team, almost got the 10th spot from the Warriors last year. I don't know if I'm too high on them, but I like this team. The Miami Heatles are next, and their starting five are Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Nikola Jovic, and Bam. And off the bench they have Alec Burks, they have Josh Richardson, Jaime Jaquez Jr., who's going to take that next step, and they also drafted Kelly Ware. So I think I'm going to put them in the B tier, which I realize now that I have a lot of teams in the B tier, but I kind of consider that like my playoff spot, not play-in, but playoff spot from 4 to 6 range. Like, these are the teams that have a chance for that. Obviously, they're not all going to make this, but anyways, back to the Heat. They're starting Nikola Jovic at the 4 probably because they lost Caleb Martin, and I don't really like that too much. So instead of A tier with all those other teams that have good stars, I'm going to put them in B tier. The Chicago Bulls, their starting five consists of Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. It still feels weird that Josh Giddey is on this team. Never would have expected that. But they have some exciting young pieces like Io. They just drafted Matas Buzelis, and Jalen Smith also they signed. So I don't know what direction they're really going in, but I'd like to think that they're trying to rebuild a little bit, and I'm excited for those young players that I just named. So I think I'm going to put them in C tier because you're not going to make the playoffs. you're probably not going to make the play-in even, but I'm going to give you a chance because you're not as bad as these D tier teams. Okay, getting towards the end here, so the Brooklyn Nets, I love that they traded Mikal Bridges because now they can actually go into the tank phase. Their starting five is now going to be probably Dennis Schroeder, Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, the two Cams, DFS, and Claxton. And then off the bench, they still have Ben Simmons' Reclamation Project, Bojan, and Sharp. I kind of think that like the Raptors, they're kind of going to be like a mediocre team, so C tier, because I don't think they're as bad enough to like tank for Cooper Flag or something. But I think they're kind of in like that retool rebuild phase now that they traded Mikal. Okay, so this might be my favorite young team, the OKC Thunder, who have a starting five of Shea, Caruso's probably going to start, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and Hartenstein. And then off the bench, they're probably going to have Cason Wallace and Isaiah Joe, who I think they both got extended, Lou Dort, and then the other Jalen Williams. And I think this team is S tier, honestly. I think this team was A tier last year, and then now they're jumping up to S tier because they remind me of the young Golden State Warriors before they won the championship, like 13-14. And I think they're going to be in championship contention. They're one of those few teams that get S tier, and not to mention they also have a million first-round picks, which they can use to upgrade at any time. So Thunder are going to be really scary. Alright. So now to my team, the Golden State Warriors. We did a couple things in free agency, but we also lost Klay Thompson and Chris Paul. I think our starting five is going to be Steph Curry, Podziemski, Wiggins, Green, and TJD. And then off the bench, maybe Melton, Hield, Slow-Mo, and Kuminga. I hope we start Kuminga, but I don't know if Steve Kerr has that trust in him yet. I think this might be a little high, but I'm going to put them in B tier because I think I may be wrong that they got a little bit better by losing Klay and Chris Paul and getting more athletic with the free agent signings, but I could definitely see them being C tier because we might be bad, but I'm biased. Now on to the defending champions, the Boston Celtics. I mean, this is definitely an S tier. There's not more of an S tier team than this team. They just won the championship last year. They have a starting five of Drew, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Horford. I mean, you know the team. You watched them in the finals. Off the bench, they have Pritchard, Hauser, Porzingis might even come off the bench, so this is the team to beat. They're the S tier team. That's it. Okay, and then now tier ranking the Lake Show, who we all know their starting five is going to be D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, LeBron, Rui, and Anthony Davis. They didn't really make that many changes in free agency, at least yet. I know there's still rumors to do some, but they have Gabe Vincent, Christie, Cam Reddish, Vanderbilt off the bench. I mean, LeBron is just getting older and older, and you didn't really do anything to make the team better, and you lost out on Klay, you lost out on DeMar, and you're probably going to lose out on a lot more free agents and that you're rumored to get, and you're probably going to lose in the first round. So probably B tier. You're going to be probably a playoff or play-in team, so B tier. And then finally, the Orlando Magic, who, once again, a young, exciting, up-and-coming team. Their starting five is probably going to be Jalen Suggs, KCP, which is a really big pickup. Super excited for them to have KCP, Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr. And then off the bench, they'll have people like Cole Anthony, Anthony Black, the other Wagner brother, and Jonathan Isaac. This is another really young, exciting team that you just got better because you have KCP now. If Orlando can get the offense rolling, I think that they can be really, really good in the Eastern Conference. And I think they're going to take that next step, honestly. So I'm going to actually put them in the A tier. And is that too high? Maybe. But they're one of the teams that I'm most excited for next year. And that is all 30 NBA teams tier ranked after free agency. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe with any of the opinions, whether you agreed with or disagreed with my rankings. It's all just about having fun. I'll see you in the next one.